Hello, my name is Brian Rakes, and today I'm going to be breaking down how the three global powers, the United States, the European Union, and Russia, handle data privacy and tech ethics. Their laws reflect competing ethical values, and they impact billions of people worldwide. Let's explore their legal frameworks, ethical foundations, and social consequences. So, why does this topic matter? Every action we take online, searches, purchases, social media, it creates data. That data is used or can be used to personalize services, but it also can be abused. Different nations are handling this very differently, and their choices are shaping the global internet. Understanding how these systems compare helps us see what kind of digital future we are building. The United States follows a sector based privacy model, which means that the laws are created for specific industries rather than having one national privacy law. For example, HIPAA protects medical information and ensures that healthcare providers and ensures safe patient data, safeguard patient data. The Graham Leach Bailey Act applies to financial institutions, requiring them to explain their data sharing practices and secure sensitive information. This fragmented system means that consumer data protections depend on the industry that's involved, resulting in uneven coverage and gaps in regulation. While the sector specific approach in the US would promote innovation and flexibility for companies and their usage on data and tech, and is also less restrictive for tech development to occur, it also opens the door for inconsistencies in data protection, and there's no universal data rights for individuals. So consumer data can be mishandled without clear accountability. The European Union. The General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR, was designed to promote transparency, accountability, and fairness in how personal data is being handled. While it's an EU law, its impact goes far beyond Europe. Any company, including those that's run in the US, that collects or processes data from EU citizens must comply with the GDPR. This means that businesses around the world are often forced to meet the European private privacy standards, regardless of their country's laws. The GDPR's broad influence has pushed global companies to rethink how they manage data and has made it one of the most powerful privacy regulations worldwide. Russia's data privacy law requires that personal data from Russian citizens are stored and processed on local servers within the country. The goal is to ensure national control over digital infrastructure. This localization law gives the Russian government greater access to user data and also allows for tighter control over tech platforms. While it's official for protection, critics say that it enables the state to monitor and restrict online activities. Russia's method of housing its citizens' data on home servers successfully enhances national control over sensitive data, and also it aims to limit foreign access to Russian user information. The question of which method is more ethical is a subjective one, being that each region has their own culture and philosophy, which would determine whether which method that they are more comfortable in having govern their country. Um, US's more open approach, the sector specific approach, um, leaves room for more technological growth with less restrictions. Um, However, this does leave gaps in protection. The European GDPR has the widest coverage of protection with the entire continent of Europe and all of its citizens. and it affects all organizations that encounter Europe and its user data. However, when dealing with smaller companies, the complex legality of the policy may hinder their access to Europe and its information. Russia and its national protection of its users' data is a strong one that is very strict in having all of its servers housed in Russia. And this can deter some countries from doing business with Russia, but it also gives Russia full control over its data and does what it's intended to by being as secure as possible with having its servers in-house, which would eliminate access from people who might try to use it for ill intentions, for lack of a better word. The subjectiveness from determining the ethics of these different approaches just comes from a matter of perspective on which matter or which philosophy you deem more important and ethical. A person who is more prejudiced towards outside influence of countries accessing their data might be more comfortable with the Russian approach. However, someone who has a maybe larger company that needs a standardized approach towards information may be more comfortable with Europe's policy, and people who are stressing more of a open and free environment and wants to grow their tech business might want to be in the United States, where user data is less protected and has gaps in protection from its sector specific approach. So subjectivity is the key to finding ethics in privacy laws in the world. As technology advances, especially in America, it builds tension in the usage of the reach of who can access private user data. And today in America, the House Democrats are looking to launch a bill that can block Elon Musk from accessing certain user data. So please watch this video and enjoy. This has been Brian Rakes, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and maybe you can look into some ways or areas that the United States can cover more protection over us as citizens and our user data. Thank you. Have a good day.
The Taxpayer Data Protection Act, to shield the American people from this out-of-control power grab permanently, and to make sure that the financial, personal, medical, and confidential information of the American people is protected.
So our Taxpayer Data Protection Act will seek to make sure that the payment systems don't have reckless interference, that those who have access to them can't just be a special appointee, a political appointee, as you know, how we schedule the appointees. No, it needs to be overseen by someone who has the top security clearance, who has the credentials, who doesn't have the conflict of interest.
I'm Greg Gassar. I'm proud to be chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, And today we're here to say with one voice, fire Elon Musk. An unelected, unaccountable billionaire now has seemingly unlimited powers over Americans' private data and over Americans' taxpayer dollars.